Welcome to World Cinema Reviews. This is your host, Frank the Vamp. And hey, I'm very glad to be talking to you guys because we're starting another Analyzing the franchise. This time we're going to talk about a special one that I really enjoy, but I don't see a lot of comments on it on the internet. So I therefore, just like doing the one from Dusk Till Dawn, and not a lot of people, like the sequels. We're going to talk about Final Destination. And at first, you just look at Final Destination, which is another um, supernatural tale about premonition, and there's teenagers that get killed off. So it looks very formulaic. It doesn't, it doesn't see. I don't, a lot of people doesn't see the staying power of it, but the film is actually fantastic. It's really fun. It's really creepy, really scary if you really think about what's at stake, because death, my friends, is very much real, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about death. We're going to talk about life, but most of all, we're going to talk about this film. This directed back in 2000 by James Wong. Um, Stars the awesome Devon Sawa, uh, awesome Canadian. Shout out to my relatives in Montreal, by the way. Um, and Ali Larder, as and Kerr Smith, Sean William Scott, among others. And let me talk about the plot, and then we're going to talk about why a few reasons why I think this film is really special. Um, First of all, are we go with Alex here, played by the awesome Sawa, and what happens is that he's going in a class trip, a senior class trip, to France, and he's going with all his friends in high school, and they're all very excited about going. But dude, goes to the bathroom and has a premonition. He sees himself going into the plane, certain things happening, and then once the plane takes off, something goes terribly wrong, and then the plane explodes and everybody dies. And so lo and behold, he thinks it's a daydream. Wakes up and says, "Hey, we gotta board the plane." But so creepy that when he gets on the plane, he starts to notice that a lot of deja vu things, everything that he knows in the plane, and things, the conversations that people are having, certain details about the plane, everything is exactly like what he just dreamt about. Knowing this, and he just panics and says, "Hey, you know what? Everybody's got to get off the plane. This plane's going to stop." Of course, this causes a huge commotion. A lot of people, a lot of people get uneasy, um, and one dude doesn't like it at all, and he kind of hates Alice Gods for talking, and they start a fight. When that happens, there's some people get kick off the plane. One of them gets off, and some just because they're kind of near, or nearby the scuffle, or they're related to people on the scuffle, they all come out of the plane. Now, once they're all on the ground and they look up, after they miss the plane, they decide to look outside, see the plane take off, and then it actually does blow up. So therefore, they sort of cheated death at this point. However, one of them dies, and by the way, I'll try to keep this pretty much spoiler free. And then they visit a mortician. I start to spoil very little. They talk to a mortician, and then this mortician that is treating the one that passed away says that death has a design. And this, by the way, is played by the incredible, awesome Tony Todd, Candyman himself. And he explains to you that, you know, death is a design, and therefore it's not going to stop at one death, because all the ones who cheated death will slowly or rapidly, more and more say, will be, you know, death himself will be coming to claim them. And one by one, they will be dying very soon. And, you know, that's the plot of the movie. And this is the awesome part, because death is an actual character. And the Candyman explains it awesomely. But I'm gonna try to we're gonna try to talk about a little bit about death here. Death is inevitable, and it's very sad most of the time. But that's not what we're gonna focus on. It's basically when it's your time, before your time, when it's, you know, there, you know, do you guys think that there is a design involved? Because think about it, every decision that you make can affect your death. For example, if you are going to have a car accident that will end your life today, let's say, you know, if you stop to brush your teeth, to take a medicine, to eat a donut, to I don't know, you know, go to the drive-through, whatever, that those moments, those minutes, those seconds that you're using can either be preventing the accident, because, you know, when somebody runs a red light, you won't be there to get hit by it, perhaps. Or does it mean that by being there, you're actually, you know, setting yourself up by that specific car that is going to hit you? It's going to hit you anyways at the time that you're going to be. So it's an inevitable. Is there a way to alter the fact that you will die? We're not going to have a religious discussion of where you go to die, or the, you know, the implications of death, but rather, you know, looking at it just really practical. Is there such a thing? You know, once you eat instead of eating wheat bread, if you eat regular white bread, you know, when you're eating an ice cream, and are you setting yourself up for a heart attack that will end your life years later? So all the decisions, I mean, this is a valid point that this movie makes, and it makes it hit home. Every little decision that you do, my friends, every little thing that you think about, every little thing that you did or didn't do can actually, you know, be setting up the day that you will depart this earth, my friends. So this setup is kick-ass and super creepy to me. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's just so disturbing because it's so real. When you find something that's real like this, oh man, you better, you know, start, you know, checking yourself and saying to yourself, hey, you know, what am I doing? Am I making the right choices? Is there any way I can prolong my life and more death? So I just completely love that. So death, now death itself being the character, now let's talk of death as a character, is extremely creepy, because you actually, you know, the directors took time to see how your death could come about, the death of the characters, I'm sorry, and they're done in very creative ways, you know. You know, starting with an airplane crash, but then, you know, moving on to different things: killed by knife, killed by fire, killed by, killed by electricity, killed by, you know, asphyxiation, and all the little details, a little slip on the top, you know, a little razor cut, you know, a little. I mean, it's just so darn real that it could really happen to you. So death as a character, you know, thinking that there is an entity called death. You know, whether you believe that or not, that's up to you. But I mean, movie makes a strong case of it. So the movie is really efficient. By the way, do you guys know that this was supposed to be? I read on the internet that this was supposed to be an episode of the X Files that got rejected or something like that, or it never got made, and the movie company was just decided to make it into a feature film. So how about that? You know, this would have been an awesome kick-ass, you know, X Files. I really enjoyed the X Files too, by the way. But yeah, I think it's better as a movie alone. So let's talk about what other things make this movie awesome. the protagonist. You know, I am so sick and tired of looking at slasher films, looking at horror films, and looking at bad actors, especially teenagers. Man, teenagers blow. Some of them, they say their lines very bad. They stumble them. They look so unbelievable, or they look so over the top or underwhelming, whatever, that it just doesn't look to what a teenager, should really look like. And I really believe that, this is a good way. There's the phone. Be back. So back after the phone call. So yeah, the character of Alex, played by Devon Sawa, it's just unbelievable. I mean, he really brings it. I like that guy from the Eminem video Stan, and he just brought it with this role. I mean, he's totally believable. Totally thinks that he can outdo death. He can be one step ahead. His character is so dynamic, not like a typical teenager. You got, he he doesn't, you know what I mean? So he's believable. I believe he's this age, but I believe also his obsession, his enthusiasm about remaining alive. So that's what works. I really like the character also of the girl, the only girl who believes in, which is Ali Larder, that she will plays Clear Rivers and will remain in sequels. Not the same with Sawa except for a cameo. We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, I mean, I like Sean William Scott as sort of the humor relief, and I like the antagonist also of Carter, who's sort of just always fighting with Alex and that. So it's it's really really fun, and it's intriguing. It's creepy, like I said. Um, Final Destination is creepy. It's scary. It's fun. It keeps you glued to see what's going to happen next. It has an excellent ending. Love it. And I think if you haven't had the chance to watch the Final Destination Part One, I definitely recommend it. So that's so if I have to give this movie a rating, definitely will give him an A in a good day. Maybe an A minus in a bad one, but definitely one movie that you just can't miss. Make sure you comment, and please subscribe. The other thing is that I will continue talking about Final Destination Part 2 on the next video. I hope you enjoy it. And one thing is to remember that you gotta live your life to the fullest, because you never know when the Reaper will come a knocking. See you next time. Maybe.